Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining me today on the Divine Messages podcast. My name is Karina, and I am a psychic medium out of Calgary, Alberta. Today's episode is all about how we can honor our past loved ones. I think so many people are afraid that a past loved one is unhappy on the other side. I think some people worry that they crossed over without getting to do what they always dreamed of doing. And is that true? Yes, it actually can be for sure. I've talked to so many spirits that have said that they wish that they would have lived differently. Some have wished to have traveled more or spent their money a little more freely, while others have wished that they loved a little harder or told their loved ones how they truly felt about them. Many spirits have told me that they wish they could have done a lot of things differently. And think about that for a second. Don't we all have things in our past that we wish we could have done differently? I know I have those thoughts all the time. Even knowing that all of it happened for a reason, I still do wish that I could go back and change many things. So when I talk to the other side, they always pass on the same message to their loved ones. They ask them to live life a little differently than they did. I once knew this couple that wasn't able to have children, and they both worked at good jobs making decent money. Plus, they had inherited a lot, and I mean a lot of money from their parents that had passed. They had only ever taken 2 trips outside of Canada, and perhaps traveling just wasn't their thing. But the one thing that I noticed was that they were so afraid to spend money. They rarely went out to a restaurant, and if they did, they would only order water. Maybe the husband would have a beer on a rare occasion, but they always made sure to order very inexpensive things on the menu. They had the means to truly enjoy life. They could actually enjoy the finer things in life, yet they were afraid to spend a dime. And I tried to talk to them and tell them that life could be a little bit more enjoyable if they let go and lived a little bit more. And I don't like to tell people what to do, even during a session. But these were good friends, and I felt that they were missing out on happiness, always saving for the future and retirement. And don't get me wrong, I feel saving is a great thing, but not at the cost of happily living. What if one of them died tomorrow? What would all of those savings do for the one that was left behind? I've seen that happen multiple times in readings, and the one that does get left behind here on Earth has become angry and resentful to their partner because they waited too long to enjoy their hard-earned money, and now life has passed them by, and one is all alone with money that they can use, but it's not the same at all. I'm one of those people who tries to live my life to the fullest as best as I can. And the reason that I do that is because every single day I talk to the other side, and they've told me to live life this way. So many of them have been filled with regret, and some have even said that if they could go back and do things differently, they would. There are still so many things that I would like to do in this life, and I'm going to try to do my best to achieve as many of them as I possibly can. I think as humans, we always feel as if we have time. We always plan for tomorrow, or next week, or even next year, and we forget to live in the moment, and that is the one thing that I can be guilty for. I'm constantly planning my next trip, my next day, and yes, even my next year. And often I have to stop and remind myself to be present, and really it's spirit that reminds me most of the time. We can all get carried away dreaming of all the things that we want to do. But we can also get carried away worrying about future events that haven't even happened yet, and that is the greatest waste of our earthly energy. And so we honor our past loved ones by fulfilling our dreams, by doing all of the things that they wish they would have done if they were alive. In readings, someone's past loved one may come in and say that they wish that they would have taken that trip or splurged on that fancy dinner, but they were afraid to for so many reasons. I recently did a session with a lovely lady, and during it, her parents that had passed had come in. Her father had told me that his daughter was leaving for a very special trip, and when I told her this, her whole face lit right up. She said, "Oh my God, how does he know I'm going?" And I said that they see everything that we do from the other side. Her father described her trip to a T, down to the details about the beautiful hotel that her and her husband were going to be staying at. And I mean so detailed that he even described the room and the views. And she sat there in full amazement that he had known the entire plan. But then what he said next was the best part. He said that he was going to go on this trip with her. He said that he had always dreamed of doing such a fancy vacation, and he never made that happen. From the way that he described it, I knew that he was full of regret, But at the same time, he was extremely proud that his daughter was going to not only fulfill one of her biggest dreams, but one of his. And I'm sure we won't be able to get to do everything that we dream of, but the way that I see it is that why not at least try to do everything that we possibly can? I already have enough regrets from things that I wish that I would have done in my past. I'd rather not have too many of those in my future. I'm one of those people that loves to express how I feel for others. When I love hard. I don't ever want my friends or loved ones to ever wonder how I feel about them. One of the things I hear spirits say all of the time is that they wish they would have told their loved ones how much they loved them. I don't ever want to die and have anyone question if I loved them or not, so I make sure to voice how I feel every single day. And maybe I'm overly loving to people these days, but because I wasn't shown very much affection growing up, I have so much love bottled up that I need to pour out of me to others. The amount of souls that I've worked with on the other side that didn't get to live full lives are the reason that I live my life the way that I do. I travel every chance that I get. I eat the foods that make me happy, well, of course, in moderation. But I do choose what I do in my life. I also know that I can get carried away with work, and my family calls me a workaholic most days, but I do it because I love it. And when I feel like I'm burning out, I do something about it. I work hard, but I play even harder. Almost every session that I do, someone's past loved one comes in and tells their loved one to live their lives to the fullest. They tell them that if they were still here on the earth, they would do things differently, and they wouldn't waste time or energy doing things that didn't actually matter. So right there, that's how we honor them. We've got to live a life that we are proud of. We have to live as if there were no tomorrow, because again, none of us knows when our exit time will be. So I want to leave you all with this today. If you want to honor your past loved ones, go live your life to the fullest. Take that vacation, spend that money, and eat the damn cake. Do all of the things that your loved ones didn't get to do in this life. Also, tell the people you love how much they mean to you. Try not to wait for tomorrow, next week, next month, or even next year. Do it all now. Take risks, choose whatever brings you joy, and go be as happy as you possibly can be. This life is full of ups and downs and can sometimes feel like being on a roller coaster that you can't get off. But all you can do is hang on for the ride and make the best of each moment. Trust me, there are many, many souls that would give anything to have another chance to do it all over again. And believe me, they would do it differently for sure. Thank you all so much for joining me today on the Divine Messages podcast, and I will talk to you all next time. If you would like to book a reading with me, I can be reached at www.divinemessages.ca or on Instagram at divinemessages333 or at the Divine Messages podcast, as well as on Facebook under Divine Messages or the Divine Messages podcast. Please bear in mind that the perspectives and opinions represented in this podcast are based solely on the Divine Messages interpretations. We can in no way be held responsible for the actions of our followers.